I'm Amanda, and I am the customer advocate at a wearable tech company called Athos. I mentioned customer support, but now in modern tech companies, you can be a customer support agent, a representative, a customer advocate, or as I like to sometimes call myself, a VP of customer happiness technician, which basically means nothing and everything at the same time. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how to kind of hack the system of customer support and get exactly what you want from any business, anytime. So before I kind of get into that, I want to talk about Athos a little bit, about the company that I work for. And these crazy pants that I'm wearing, which made it very cold today to walk to the building, are some of the pants that we make at Athos. And like I said, it's wearable tech, so these particular pants have a lot of different sensors in them. We actually have pioneered a way to measure heart rate by the waistband, which is like a pretty new technology, and it's very effective and really reliable. But it makes it so you don't have to have any kind of heart rate monitor on while you're working out if you just want to work out your lower body. So we monitor heart rate. We also monitor calories burned using algorithms that take into account heart rate and your height and weight and stuff like that, and how hard your muscles are working. And one of the coolest things that we do at Athos is we measure muscle effort. And muscle effort, the way we measure that is by using old school EMG technology, which is electromyography. And basically, your muscles, when you work out or do any kind of activity, release electrical impulses. And so by using EMG sensors, which usually were, to access something like that, it would cost thousands of dollars, and you'd have to be in a medical hospital setting to access that. And you'd have to have electrodes glued or taped to your body and wires everywhere. And so Athos is special because we've made these wireless sensors that are built into these garments that track your muscle activity without having to use wires and stuff. So it's very, very cool. I've also got a shirt here, which I'm going to pass around. This is the shirt, kind of like a Tron shirt. We have the core that you snap into the shirt and it lights up. It's very fun. The core here is on the side of my leg. And this takes all the data from all the electrical impulses and all the sensors that we're using and relays that data in a very easy to read, user-friendly way into an app, which I'm going to show you in just a second too. So here's this. I'm going to pass this around so everyone can kind of see what it's like and feel that. So I'm going to show you a little bit what about the app itself looks like really quick. Here's some screenshots. So while you're working out, you'll get this really awesome full body view of what your muscles are doing in real time. This is actually a replay feature that we have, so you can actually scrub to any part of your workout and see how your muscles are firing at any time. And then you also get really great data with a lot of different styles of data visualization that show you how balanced your muscles are working. So in the top, you can see that my deltoid, which is up here, I was working my right side a lot harder than my left side. And you can see that if you're having any injuries or need muscle imbalances, kind of see what's going on the muscle level. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the app itself, if I can remember how to do this. Let's see what happens if I... Yep. Now everyone knows my password, so don't abuse that. All right, so when you start a workout, you get an awesome little visual like this. And I'm going to go ahead and start a workout and see what happens. Cool. So if I run in place, you're going to see my quads are firing. And then, and you can see in real time, there is probably, I think we established that's like a 0.7 second delay between muscle activity. But if I do a squat, you can actually see my hamstrings will be firing. Or actually, I guess it's my inner and outer quad for that one. If I stand on one leg, you should see just mostly on one of my legs are firing, and then the other. So it's very, very cool. And when you're wearing both the shirt and the pants at the same time, you get this really cool visualization for what's happening in your workout. And I'll show you a cool little some of the visualizations. So then it gives you really neat insights on what your workout's doing. So you've got an Athos score, which is it kind of gamifies working out, and all the sensors kind of contribute a little bit to an algorithm that makes a cumulative Athos score from your calories burned, how hard your muscles worked out and stuff. And so you get a heart rate as well. I love the different styles of visualization. So now you get this little circle chart, and then now you get like a line graph. It's just very cool. And then you get muscle balance lines and very cool stuff. So, and it gives you feedback. Oh, you're almost at ideal balance. So, cool. So I just wanted to give a brief intro on some of that stuff. So it's very Internet of Thingsy, if you will. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what customer support is in the grand scope of all things customer support. So most people have an experience of customer support being you call a 1-800 number, and then you probably get transferred to an employee that's maybe outsourced, or maybe someone who's working in a cubicle like this and at a giant call center where they employ hundreds of employees. And who in here hates, like a show of hands, who in here hates calling customer support, like myself included? Yeah, it is the worst. And you probably have these pictures in your head of what these people are like. They're just the worst people ever, and they're never going to help you. You're never going to get what you want. And that's probably because you've dealt with Comcast and the Time Warner cables and these people who really probably don't want to help you, or probably don't even have the power to help you. And so not all companies do value good support and good customer service, and which you would know if you called like a Time Warner cable or Comcast. And so what you get out of this kind of service, having this giant call center and you're getting routed to different departments and stuff, you get some downsides, such as being placed on hold for all eternity. The people that you're calling probably don't have the power to help issue a refund or change your plan or cancel service. They might not even have the ability to really do that. Maybe they can only provide information. And sadly, a lot of these employees aren't paid fair market value wages. They're paid very low wages, especially if they're outsourced employees. A lot of companies kind of take advantage of that cheap labor, and it's half of the reason why they're outsourced, which that's not good for business. And you might even notice that they're not personable. They might be reading from a script, and you don't feel like this person empathizes with you. They don't really care to help in any kind of way. They have no really incentive to help you other than making sure their call numbers are high. And so a lot of companies are now starting to realize that this is a terrible business model. This is a terrible way to support customers. And they're taking this dated model and they're flipping it and trying to find an alternative to really keep customer engagement high. So what's the alternative to this call center? Well, Silicon Valley startups are pioneering this new way of providing support, which actually starts by supporting their own employees before providing support to customers, which might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. So instead of having these awful closed-in cubicles where it's hard to kind of work with a team, you're kind of doing your own thing, they're making these spaces much more collaborative. This is a Silicon Valley tech company. I actually can't remember which one, but this is almost identical to what Athos' office looks like. It's basically one giant room with a lot of desks from IKEA, and everyone from every team works together in the same space, which is great. You no longer have these segregated customer support teams that are probably in their own warehouse somewhere, and then everyone else who's doing development and marketing on their own. So you're bringing everyone together and you're treating everyone as an equal part of the team, which is really, really amazing. You get a higher quality of employee who really cares about the customer. And in exchange, that customer feels supported themselves because now they're getting competitive salaries. No longer are they getting paid minimum wage, they're getting paid real market value, Silicon Valley salaries. Options to work from home, that is a big one. I feel very lucky I get to work from home here in Charlotte for a company that's based on the West Coast. And I have that freedom now versus working in a call center where you don't get any kind of freedom to work from home. Now companies are giving out stock options, which that really changes the game. Once you're invested in a company, not time-based, not because you've put in tons of years of time, but invested monetarily because this company is providing stock options for you, you now have a major incentive to help that customer or that company grow. Once your company is booming and profitable, you now can maybe reap in the benefits of some of those stock options yourself. And so that is a really powerful way to keep employees engaged. And then also flexible hours and work-life balance. I have a very flexible schedule. I can kind of make my own hours. I get flexible vacation time, paid vacations, and things like that, where it's in a call center, because a lot of these employees are maybe working for minimum wage or being outsourced, you just don't get that. And so you get this, now modern companies are switching over to this really great model of really supporting their employees and hoping that that translates into great support, which in fact it does. So I get this question a lot. So you just answer phones all day? Fortunately, no. Athos and the previous company I worked before that, we had no phones whatsoever. That's actually kind of getting phased out of customer support because of the reason why you all raised your hands. It's just not really an effective way to communicate via customers anymore. And so in addition to helping customers, yeah, that's definitely a big part of what I do. But working in a small startup like I do, where it's 50 people total, I have to wear a lot of different hats, and everyone in the company wears a lot of hats. There's no longer necessarily this designated department of customer support. A lot of companies now have everyone in the company contributing to support, and maybe all developers have to spend 5 hours a week helping customers and kind of getting down in there in the trenches and seeing what customers are doing. And so that's a really powerful way to help customers. So since I don't just answer phones all day, what do? So I am also responsible for all of our social media content on all of our social media channels. We also don't have a designated marketing department, being so small, and so we all kind of pitch in for that. So I basically generate all the content for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and post that and help out in that way. I also do a ton of product testing. We also don't have a designated QA team because everyone in the team should be able to do product testing before the product hits the market, before the user gets it. So I'm responsible for testing out the product before it hits the App Store and making sure that it's not buggy. And so if it is buggy, I also have to do bug reporting. And so, and then in addition to that, we also take care of fraud analysis. With any kind of e-commerce site, you're going to have some fraud issues, people trying to steal credit cards to buy merchandise and then report it back to their credit card, and it's crazy. And so one thing I really enjoy doing, and I've gotten to do in a couple different roles, is do fraud analysis and fraud detection and recognize patterns to kind of stop fraud. So this is all happening on like my day-to-day business. I do all of this all the time. And so customer emails is just a very small portion of what I do in the grand scheme of things. And a lot of customer support people are having this as well. It's no longer just emails or just wearing a headset. It's doing a lot of this stuff for the company as well. So now that you know a little bit about the people on the other end of the phone that you might be talking to, let's dig into 4 tips for getting what you want from customer support. Now that you know a little background about who these people are, what they're doing, let's figure out some tips and some strategies for helping you get what you want from companies. So tip number 1, be respectful. This sounds so obvious and sounds like I'm trying to trick you. I cannot tell you how many times someone has written in to support and they start their email by saying, I can't believe this, I'm so angry, I hate you and your business, but I really want an exchange because I would like to get a new one, and it's a new product. And it's just like, that's not how it works. You would never go to a coffee shop, you'd never go to Starbucks, throw your money at the barista and say, where's my latte? Like, that's just not effective. And so it works the same way with customer support, even if you're on the phone or via Twitter or via email. Respect has to be established in order to get help. And so once you start screaming over the phone or typing in all capsing and just shouting expletives or using curse words at all, you've established yourself as like that guy, and no one wants to help that guy. I can assure you that that guy is going to get pushed to the bottom of the queue. He does not get help first, and it's just not going to be a pretty time. So so that guy just doesn't get great service. So you don't want to be that guy. So let's go over some examples of like that guy versus like respectful responses that get like really great service. So this is a loose paraphrase of a email that I got recently. I'm so pissed off. I can't believe I paid for this product and it doesn't even work. All caps. I want a refund right now. I'm going to call the BBB and just ruin this business. And I can understand that sentiment. I think we all can. I've felt this way many, many times about different services. But shouting at people is not necessarily the way to go. So there's a better way that this person could have conveyed their anger and how upset they were in just a respectful way, but still getting the same point across. And instead of being like, that guy, I'm like, oh, I don't want to help him because he's just going to give me a bad customer satisfaction rating anyway. And maybe we don't even want him as a customer. Maybe he's just not a customer we even want, period. So why even help him? So I'm going to show you an alternative way of responding that will absolutely get you what you want and then some. So it's already structured like a letter. So you're saying, hi there. That's much more respectful and personable than saying, like, I'm so pissed off right when you start your message. That's just not cool. So it's saying, like, I wanted to reach out because I'm experiencing some issues. The charger stopped working, and my gear is useless without a charger. This is pretty disappointing. And then saying, like, is there any way I can exchange my charger or return all the gear for a refund? Best, Amanda. So this is great. You're saying, this is pretty disappointing. Like, you're saying, this is not acceptable. This is not what I paid for, and it's expensive, and so I expect some action to be taken. And so saying, can I exchange my charger for a new one? Or if that's not an option, can I just return my gear altogether? That's letting the representative know what they can do to help you and what would make you happy. And then also, maybe the exchanges are not part of their policy. So maybe returning the gear for refund is also an option. So you're leaving all these options open while being respectful and not using expletives. That's really great. And no all caps. That's also really amazing. And I can feel really sympathetic for this person. Like, just saying, this is pretty disappointing, that's probably my key phrase for contacting support, because like anytime you say that, you basically get all that sympathy because people understand what disappointment feels like. So it's really important to just be courteous, and you will definitely get what you want by being courteous. I had a recent customer, and I wish I was paraphrasing this one, but he said, F you and your business, this product isn't going to work out, and at the bottom, P.S. I really love the shorts. That was very bizarre to hear, F you and your business, but also, I really like the shorts though. And it's like, okay, it was nice to see you as a customer, but I've already issued a refund, be on your way. Versus something I would have said to someone being like, I'm so sorry that we've let you down. How can I help this situation? If you're already coming out of the gate with FUs and very disrespectful language, you're not going to get the same level of support as someone who structured a really nice email like this. So when you do really nice emails like that and you're really respectful, you might actually qualify for super nice things. If you've never received a super nice thing, you might want to look at how you've been structuring your emails in the past, because these things definitely exist. A lot of companies will reward customers who've had some maybe issues with shipping, maybe their product got completely lost in the mail, or maybe they received an entirely different product than what they purchased. And if you come to support with a very polite and structured email, you might qualify for super nice things. So what are these nice things? Well, one of my favorite examples of this is this company in San Francisco. It's a fashion company called Everlane. They make both men and women's fashion. And they have this policy where if something happens, like shipping issues occur, or whatever it might be, you got the wrong product, or you were billed incorrectly, they will not only send you the correct product and fix that situation, but they'll also go through your wish list of items or your cart or whatever you've purchased recently and just send you a whole nother item. If you are like really into silk shirts and you've got one in your cart, they'll just mail that to you, which I think is a really amazing way to reward great customers. And at Athos, we do the same thing. I've gotten to kind of pioneer a program now at Athos where if someone has gone through a similar issue, we will remedy that issue for them and also send them a handwritten note with some stickers and whatever swag we have lying around, Athos t-shirts, or we have little drawstring bags and stuff too, and just to show that customer that we really appreciated them and that they definitely deserve some extra treatment for what they went through. But people who come out of the gate with expletives don't really get that kind of treatment. We basically will tell them, I'm sorry you had this experience, let's move on from that, and sorry to lose you as a customer. So we're going to go into the next point, which I like quite a bit. It's number 2, which is have a plan. So in the examples we showed, the first guy just kind of had word vomit all over the place and just shouted at the customer support rep. But he said he wanted a refund, but other than that, didn't really have any kind of plan. He just kind of wanted to verbally assault the other person reading the email. Whereas the second person had a very clear train of thought, a very concise statement of what would make them happy, and that is key. If you're calling someone like Comcast and you realize your bill has been charged like 4 times as high as it normally would be, which is definitely something they probably would do, then know exactly what they can do to fix it. Know an exact dollar amount even. If you say, I expect $145 to be wiped from my bill because of XYZ reasons, that makes it very easy for the customer support agent to help you because you've now defined a very clear and concise request for what will make you happy. So the other part of that is to make sure your request is reasonable. Like what would make you happy and what would also make the customer support agent happy. So say you get a pair of shoes at Payless and you've worn them for 3 months, but their return policy only allows returns within 30 days. You're probably not going to get a return, and that's not the fault of the company or the customer support agent themselves, so it's not even worth really making a big fuss at. No matter how hard you yell at them, that's their policy, and you're probably not going to get any kind of return from that. But what you can do is say, hey, I know I'm past this deadline. I'm so sorry. I really love these shoes, but they just didn't work out for me, and I've spent a lot of time wasting time not doing a return. Is there any way I can get store credit? So offering another way to make you happy is a great way. It shows that you're flexible and you're reasonable, and you almost certainly get at least one or the other, either the full refund or a store credit to get something else. That's very common. I've done that quite a few times. Or say your Airbnb host cancels last minute, and now you have to find a whole nother stay from Airbnb. My boyfriend and I have had this happen to us, and we've had to call Airbnb and say, what I think will remedy this situation is you find us another stay in a similar area, and then you cover the difference. Airbnb covers the difference in price. That's a very clear, very concise plan of action that someone on customer support can actually execute by saying, I don't know what would make you happy. I think you should just fix this. That's not super helpful because now they're having to read your mind, and that's not helpful for anyone. So coming prepared and having a plan is just key for getting what you want. And what's even better than that, say you're responding to an email, if you have screenshots or details about what the issue is, maybe someone's billing site is not accepting your credit card, maybe take a screenshot of that, send that over to the support agent, and let them know exactly what the issue is. That way they can really help. They can send that to a developer and say, hey, do you know what might be causing this? And you can actually get action taken on that. If you just write in and say, I'm so pissed off, your system won't even accept my card, and just leave it at that, that's not super helpful for them. They don't even know the details of what happened. So just come prepared, have details, have a plan, and it makes it super easy to get what you want. And then the third tip is be strategic. This is a really fun topic for me because, like I said, I handle a lot of social media stuff as well. So in modern companies, they now engage with customers on Facebook and phone and email also, but now it's also Twitter and Instagram and Google Plus and YouTube if they have a YouTube account and all these different channels. But how do you know what's the most effective channel to reach out to when you need something, when you need some help? So I have ranked the top 5 channels to get customer support, and I've ranked them from worst to best. And this might be surprising to some people, but I'm gonna kind of talk through why I organize them in this way. So the first one is the phone, and I think we've already established that no one enjoys calling customer support. Phone support is just kind of dated. Even modern companies can't seem to evolve phone support. It's just not really happening. You still have to deal with the press 5 for whatever, and then press 6 for this option, and then you're still placed on hold, and it's just not good. So just scrap phone altogether. Like I said, Athos doesn't have a phone. My last company, Threadflip, never had a phone line, so unless it's someone that just doesn't have a Twitter or an email, just scrap phone altogether. So the next one would be Instagram. So how many people in here have an Instagram account? So quite a few of you guys. Probably like half, I'd say. That's probably about what the ratio is of businesses right now still. A lot of businesses haven't gotten on the Instagram bandwagon, and there's a lot of social media management apps that kind of like aggregate data and comments and likes and stuff from these different social media channels. But Instagram is just kind of, it's just not there yet. A lot of these apps like Hootsuite and Sprout Social and stuff that are used to manage this don't really have great Instagram connections in there, and so it's hard to get comments at all unless you actually log into the Instagram app. And even then, a lot of companies don't even check Instagram, so Instagram is also out. So Instagram is like not a super effective way to reach out to support. Now, Facebook is interesting. So Facebook can be really great. At Athos, we definitely respond to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter messages. But Facebook is cool because a lot of companies, people feel comfortable in general using Facebook. And it's very writing friendly. You can write on the wall. You can write underneath comments. You can do a direct message and write to a business, privately. So you have a lot of great options for that. But the key to Facebook is this business even active on Facebook? Have they ever responded to customers before in line? There are a lot of companies that do, but there's a ton of modern companies that still don't. And so that's the key. I think Facebook is totally acceptable to reach out to only if they seem active. We have about 69,000 likes on our page, and we're extremely active on Facebook, and so Facebook is definitely a good channel for us. Now, say the company they're trying to reach doesn't have Facebook and they're not active. Email is still one of the top ways to communicate with the company. At Athos, our response time is 13 hours, which might sound like a really long time, but the industry standard right now is about 72 hours. You'd have to wait about 72 hours, 3 days to get a response, where at Athos, we've cut that down to about half of a day, where you'd have to wait for a response. And a lot of companies are kind of getting on that bandwagon too. Just being able to have that high response time and reach out to customers is a really great way to get your questions answered. So I think email is still high up there. And what's awesome about email is you can't be on hold. You might have to wait a little while for a response, but you're not going to be put on hold. And you can add screenshots and details and receipts, as many attachments as Gmail can possibly hold. You can throw that in your email. And that is extremely helpful for building a case against why you should have a refund or whatever it is that you're trying to get from customer support. And then last is Twitter. How many people have ever tweeted to a company about a complaint or just to get what you want or anything, just at a company, period? Nice. So a good amount of people. Twitter is booming right now. Twitter is massive. Basically, any modern company has to have a Twitter to survive. But it has that caveat, so you have to make sure you're using Twitter correctly. This should go without saying, but it doesn't. You have to use the @mention to get your company that you're trying to reach out to see it. I've done some digging and search word finding, and I've seen some upset customers who just wrote the word Athos and have never actually used the mention tool. Like I mentioned, the social media management apps like Hootsuite and Sprout Social, they actually will keep track of all of these mentions and stuff. So all I would have to do is log into this app, check my mentions, see if anyone seems upset or needs help, and reach out directly. If you don't use that, you can't get help unless someone is really vigilant on Twitter, which is most people don't have the bandwidth for that. So make sure you're using it correctly. And like I said with Facebook, if this company is just AWOL and has no social media presence, just default to email. If they have no Twitter presence, they maybe post once a month or once a week. You're probably not going to get a very fast response. But I would suggest using Twitter if you've never used it to reach out to a business. The other major tip for that is make sure you ask an actual question. Don't say, my charger stopped working, that's weird. Maybe say, I would like help with this. I'm not sure why my charger isn't working. Can you help? Make it seem really direct. Really attack them. Be aggressive with your questions, because when companies see that those questions haven't been answered, it just makes them look bad, and no company really wants that. So they want to make sure everything's answered, everyone's helped. So yeah, definitely make sure you use the app mentions. That should go without saying. Hashtags are also okay. Companies track that. And ask a direct question. And between these three, being courteous, knowing what will make you happy, and having a plan, and refining your strategy to know where to attack customer support to get what you want, will definitely get you exactly what you're trying to get from customer support, basically every time. So I'm going to be sticking around for a little bit. If you guys want to talk about social media stuff, about customer support, Athos gear, anything like that, definitely come find me. And I also have some stickers for anyone who's bold enough to come ask a question. So, and yeah, so thank you guys.